At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
This episode is brought to you by FX's The Beauty Official Podcast. Join host Evan Ross Katz on the official podcast for FX's hottest new series, The Beauty, taking you behind the scenes with its amazing stars as they discuss the show's most jaw-dropping moments. Featuring Evan Peters, Anthony Ramos, Jeremy Pope, Ashton Kutcher, Rebecca Hall, Bella Hadid, Meghan Trainor, Isabella Rossellini, Jessica Alexander, and Ari Grainer. Search FX's The Beauty wherever you listen to podcasts.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This is Jay Scott, and you are listening to The Hook, the Ultimate Rock Community Podcast. Hope everyone's having a great day. It's been a bit since we've done one. Just had a busy week last week. Just tied up with a few things. Life kind of got in the way. But we are back after a short hiatus, and we are going to do something I've been looking forward to here since I started the podcast, and that is the Led Zeppelin Bracket Challenge, the Ultimate Led Zeppelin Bracket Challenge. Most of you know who follow me on Twitter. I've done a lot of polls in the past. Ultimate challenge on lead singers, guitar players, drummers, bassists, albums, whatnot. It's a lot of fun. People get involved, and it's a great way to share our passion of music with each other. So without further ado, we are going to dive into the bracket challenge. Just make note that I will be releasing a bracket to correspond with this episode. Feel free to fill yours out and attach it to when you're done of what you think is going to happen and what song you think is going to win. Basically, it breaks down into 64 songs by Led Zeppelin. This is not a declaration on what is the best and how they're ranked. Obviously, the most popular songs will be ranked higher than some of the deeper cuts. A lot of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs are amongst those deeper cuts. But to be fair to both the casual fan and the diehard, I tried to do my best and rank them accordingly. But you are the voter, so you vote with what you feel and what you think is a better song during each bracket. There will be 4 brackets made up of 16 apiece. The brackets will be named the Page Bracket, the Plant Bracket, the Bonham Bracket, and the Jones Bracket. And they'll have 1 through 16 ranked. The Page bracket will then go up against the Jones bracket, and then the Plant bracket will face off with the winners of the Bonham bracket. Get involved, communicate, make comments, retweet, get more followers to make it more interesting. It should be a lot of fun. Led Zeppelin is my favorite band. My collection of Led Zeppelin music is pretty extensive. Obviously, all of the studio recordings and all the official releases that have come out by Led Zeppelin, I own multiple copies of. And also a lot of imports, a lot of bootlegs, a lot of different vinyl from all over the world, whether it's from South America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. Just a lot of cool, interesting stuff I've picked up along the way as I've been a collector of music and a collector of all things Led Zeppelin. So let's begin. Let's start with the Page bracket. The number 1 seed of the whole bracket challenge is, of course, the most popular, iconic Led Zeppelin song. At one time, it was the most requested song on the radio. I don't know if that's still applies, but the first song is Stairway to Heaven. And that song will face off against a rockabilly song off of In Through the Outdoor. And that song is Hot Dog. So Stairway to Heaven versus Hot Dog. The number 2 seed in the page bracket is Heartbreaker off of Led Zeppelin 2 versus a deep cut off of Led Zeppelin 4, Four Sticks, which was the beginnings of Led Zeppelin using other cultural style music in its recording and in its arrangements. And that really is how they evolved, at least through the next couple of albums, in Houses of the Holy and Physical Graffiti, and there's some elements of it on Presence, and even In Through the Outdoor. I shouldn't just say over the next couple albums, but it's an interesting song. Obviously, it's one of Bonham's signature tracks that he recorded. And again, Heartbreaker versus Four Sticks, Led Zeppelin 2 versus Led Zeppelin 4. The number 3 seed is the first track, the one that started it off, and that's Good Times, Bad Times. One of my favorite interviews is with Steve Perry. Over the last year, he said in an interview that when he first heard Good Times, Bad Time in the car, he had to pull over because of the sound of the song, which he had never heard before. Obviously, Steve Perry, a big Sam Cooke fan, and a very big R&B influence in his style and delivery. But the first time he heard Good Times, Bad Times was a momentous moment for him and his singing career. That goes up against number 14, Jamaica, which is probably my least favorite Led Zeppelin song. It is a popular one, though. A lot of people do like it. A lot of people put it on at parties. It's off of the Houses of the Holy record. Once again, number 3, Good Times, Bad Times versus number 14, Jamaica. Number 4, one of the strongest tracks off of Led Zeppelin 3, a very signature Robert Plant song, and that is Since I've Been Loving You, versus number 13, a deep cut from In Through the Outdoor, and that's I'm Gonna Crawl. One of the strong tracks off In Through the Outdoor. Since I've Been Loving You is such an iconic song off of Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin 3 really did not do well with Led Zeppelin fans after the enormous success of Led Zeppelin 2 and the style of music that they had been playing. Led Zeppelin 3, which is more of a scaled down record with more acoustic style songs, folksy, the Brown Rar Stomps, the That's the Way, Tangerine. Obviously, there's some rockers on that too, like Immigrant Song and Out on the Tiles. Again, a very scaled back album, an album that I think over time does stand up very well and has become one of my favorites. Number 5, and that is In My Time of Dying off of Physical Graffiti, my favorite record by Led Zeppelin. The double record features this great blues number, In My Time of Dying, versus number 12, Gallows Pole, which is another song off of Led Zeppelin 3. Then we go to number 6, Bring It On Home, the blues number off of Led Zeppelin 2, against number 11, Wearing and Tearing, which is off of the Coda record, which is filled with a bunch of unreleased songs. This song, Wearing and Tearing, was recorded during the In Through the Outdoor sessions. It drives me nuts that song is not on that album because it is a great track. Back in the 90s, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant performed it at Neverworth and just lit the crowd, man. It was just a great performance with both of them. They'd never performed that song live, and I think that's the only time either one of them have played that. It is a great track. If you are interested, have never heard it, and you're a casual Zeppelin fan, I suggest you listen to Wearing and Tearing off of the Coda record. We go to number 7, What Is and What Should Never Be, one of the most popular songs off Led Zeppelin 2, one of the most recognizable songs by Led Zeppelin, versus the B-side, Hey, Hey, What Can I Do, the B-side to the Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin 3, another song that should have made the record, and for whatever reason, maybe it sounded like a couple other songs on the album, but it's a really strong track, become one of my all-time favorites as time has moved on. And then we go to number 8, the song about Robert Plant's son, who tragically died from a virus while the recording of the Presence record, I believe. And this song is one of the more popular, iconic songs from Led Zeppelin, and that's All My Love. And that is against number 9, Dancing Days. So let's recap the page bracket. Number 1 versus 16, Stairway to Heaven versus Hot Dog. Number 2 versus 15, Heartbreaker versus 4 Sticks. Number 3 versus 14, Good Times, Bad Times versus Jamaica. Number 4 versus 13, Since I've Been Loving You, I'm Gonna Crawl. Number 5 versus 12, In My Time of Dying versus Gallows Pole. Number 6 versus 11, Bring It On Home versus Wearing and Tearing. Number 7 versus number 10, What Is and What Should Never Be versus Hey, Hey, What Can I Do? And number 8 versus number 9, All My Love versus Dancing Days. Now we head over to the plant bracket, starting off with one of their most recognizable, iconic songs again, which is Whole Lotta Love versus Brown Rar Stomp. The song that is about a dog, I believe, off of Led Zeppelin 3. I think I've read that story a couple times, but another good, deep track from Led Zeppelin. Whole Lotta Love, of course, one of the most recognizable songs. When performed live, it could last up to 30 to 40 minutes. They used to do a blues breakdown, a blues medley during this song, usually ended with this track on several tours. Great song, Whole Lotta Love. We go to number 2, Song Remains the Same. The intro, the first song from Houses of the Holy versus number 15, Friends. Another deep track. Number 3, Ramble On from Led Zeppelin 2 versus another Led Zeppelin 2 song, The Lemon Song, at number 14. Number 4, Achilles' Last Stand. Probably John Bonham's most signature song. The song he just absolutely wails on. A very progressive song for Led Zeppelin. Really kind of changed it up during the Presence record. Probably the strongest track on that record, in my opinion. And that is against number 13, Your Time Is Gonna Come, a deep cut off of Led Zeppelin 1. Features the organ played by John Paul Jones in the beginning of the song. We move on to number 5, When the Levee Breaks. One of my favorite songs by Led Zeppelin. A deep cut off of the 4th record. It has gained popularity over the last several years, but back in the day, back in the 80s when I was growing up, that was not a song that was one of the most popular ones, but it has become that over time. And that is against the Wonton Song, which originally was recorded as Desire during those sessions, and it was changed to the Wonton Song, and that is on the Physical Graffiti record. Going to California, number 6, one of the iconic songs, versus 11, Tangerine, which is one of the most underappreciated songs by Led Zeppelin. Number 7, The Ocean, versus number 10, Fool in the Rain. And what you should do after this is all done, after this episode, is go on YouTube and listen to the John Bonham isolated drum track from Fool in the Rain. And there's no looping, it is all him just keeping the time, keeping the beat through the whole song. Is actually amazing. If you have a chance to check it out, search on YouTube, Fool in the Rain, isolated drum track. You'll thank me later. Definitely. Number 8, Dazed and Confused, off of Led Zeppelin 1, which of course featured the violin bow live when Jimmy Page would play this. And number 9, Communication Breakdown, another song off of Led Zeppelin 1. Let's go back and review the plant bracket. Let's go through 1, Whole Lotta Love versus 16, Brown Rar Stomp. Number 2, Song Remains the Same versus 15, Friends. Number 3 versus 14, Ramble On versus The Lemon Song. Number 4 versus 13, Achilles' Last Stand versus Your Time Is Gonna Come. Number 5 versus 12, When the Levee Breaks versus The Wonton Song. Number 6 versus 11, Going to California versus Tangerine. Number 7 versus 10, The Ocean versus Fool in the Rain. And number 8 versus number 9, Dazed and Confused versus Communication Breakdown. Some really great matchups in that bracket as well. We now move on to the bottom bracket. One of the songs that every drummer loves to play because of the beginning and the solo at the end, and that is Rock and Roll at number 1, the number 1 seed in the bottom bracket, versus number 16, Custard Pie. We then move on to number 2, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, one of my favorite songs, versus number 15, Livin' Lovin' Made. Number 3, one of the best songs to start a record, and that is Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin 3, versus number 14, We're Gonna Groove, another unreleased track that was on the Coda record. Number 4, How Many More Times versus Hot's On for Nowhere off of Presence. Now, How Many More Times has an interesting backstory. That song caused a lot of friction between Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck back in the day, because Beck was adamant and believed very strongly that Jimmy Page stole some of Beck's bolero, Jeff Beck's signature instrumental. Rumor has it that Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page did not speak for years because of that. Now, if you want to check it out for yourself, go listen to both Beck's Bolero and How Many More Times, and you decide for yourself, and let me know what you think, if it was a blatant ripoff from Jimmy Page or if there are differences. I believe, in my opinion, that yes, it was heavily taken from Beck's Bolero. Led Zeppelin was known for, quote-unquote, stealing things and using things throughout their career. That will be on a future episode, as we'll dive into that. And once again, decide for yourself on How Many More Times against Beck's Bolero. Number 5, The Rain Song, one of my favorite songs as well. I actually prefer The Rain Song versus Stairway to Heaven. And that song is against Carlos Oblama from In Through the Outdoor. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I've always had trouble with that. Another deep cut off of In Through the Outdoor. Number 6, Nobody's Fault But Mine off of Presence versus number 11, Celebration Day. Number 7, The Rover, a great deep track, song they very rarely ever played live, versus number 10, That's the Way, another one of my favorites. And number 8, In the Light versus number 9, Traveling Riverside Blues, which was released on the box set in the 90s. An unreleased track. I think it's from a BBC recording. There was a music video, I believe, for it. I think it was mid-90s that it was released, early to mid-90s, but a deep track nonetheless. So let's go back and review the bottom bracket. Number 1 versus 16, Rock and Roll versus Custard Pie. Number 2 versus 15, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You versus Livin' Lovin' Made. Number 3 versus 14, Immigrant Song versus We're Gonna Groove. Number 4 versus 13, How Many More Times versus Hot's On for Nowhere. Number 5 versus 12, The Rain Song versus Carlos Oblama. Number 6 versus 11, Nobody's Fault But Mine versus Celebration Day. Number 7 versus number 10, The Rover versus That's the Way. That'll be an interesting matchup. And number 8 versus number 9, In the Light from Physical Graffiti versus Traveling Riverside Blues. That bracket will be released on the second day, as will the Jones bracket, the final bracket in the Ultimate Led Zeppelin Bracket Challenge. And let's dive into it. Once again, the Jones bracket. Number 1, probably my favorite Led Zeppelin song of all time, and that is Kashmir versus 16, T for One from Presence. Number 2, Black Dog versus number 15, Out on the Tiles. Interesting note about Out on the Tiles is the melody was actually written by John Bonham after a night of drinking. I know Jason Bonham has talked about it extensively during interviews over in the past. An interesting note on the song. Intro was used in live shows when they started Moby Dick, the giant drum solo by John Bonham. And yes, Moby Dick will not be on the bracket challenge because it is an instrumental, and these are just for songs only. Number 3, Over the Hills and Far Away versus number 14, Battle of Evermore, a deep cut off of Led Zeppelin 4. Number 4, Thank You versus number 13, a deep, deep track off of Physical Graffiti, Night Flight. Number 5, Misty Mountain Hop versus number 12, Black Country Woman. Number 6, 10 Years Gone versus 11, Houses of the Holy. I so wanted to move 10 Years Gone up in the rankings, but with such a deep and great catalog Zeppelin has, that song landed at number 6. It is a great track, one of my favorites. One of many perfect songs by Led Zeppelin. We go to number 7, Trampled Underfoot versus number 10, No Quarter, the song off of Houses of the Holy. And then number 8, In the Evening, a great song off of In Through the Outdoor versus number 9, Sick Again, another underappreciated song by Led Zeppelin. So there you have it. There's the Jones bracket. Let's review. Number 1 versus 16, Kashmir versus T for One. Number 2 versus 15, Black Dog versus Out on the Tiles. Number 3 versus 14, Over the Hills and Far Away versus Battle of Evermore. Number 4 versus 13, Thank You versus Night Flight. Number 5 versus 12, Misty Mountain Hop versus Black Country Woman. Interesting matchup there. Number 6 versus 11, 10 Years Gone versus Houses of the Holy. Interesting, Houses of the Holy does not appear on the album Houses of the Holy. It appears on Physical Graffiti. And number 7 versus number 10, Trampled Underfoot versus No Quarter. I have a feeling No Quarter is going to do well. There's a lot of people that love that song. A lot of hardcore Zeppelin fans really dig it. And number 8 versus number 9, In the Evening versus Sick Again. So once again, those are the 4 brackets for the Ultimate Led Zeppelin Bracket Challenge, which will be released shortly after this episode. So fill out your brackets, keep your brackets, post them if you want to. But we are going to start doing a poll for Led Zeppelin. It should be fun. It should be interactive. I hope to hear from all of you. Again, my favorite band in the entire world. Been a fan since junior year of high school as I migrated from being a Kiss fan into a hardcore Led Zeppelin fan, largely in part because of my cousin in California who brought a duffel bag full of bootlegs to Chicago one summer and exposed me to the greatest band of all time. And ever since then, I've been hooked. I have my own collection. I can't get enough of Zeppelin. It's just every song is a journey for me. And I hope you enjoy this. I hope we have fun. And we'll talk again soon. Once again, this is Jay Scott, and you're listening to The Hook, the Ultimate Rock Community Podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.